The downside to retirement that no one's talking about. Interesting. I just got done reading a story or an article from Forbes about the guy saying retire early to live longer. So we'll see what this guy says. The downsides to retirement, size to retirement. So again, another guy sent this to me, another of my subscribers on the channel, and I much appreciate that. So this is Dateline 6/26/2019 by someone named Cameron Huddleston. Don't know anything about him, so let's read it. I haven't read this, so I thought it'd be interesting. We'll read it together. The realities you face when you stop working might be a far cry from your retirement dream. Of course, retiring broke or not being able to retire at all are among your worst case scenarios, but there are plenty of other snags you might encounter. If you haven't properly prepared for leaving the working world and living without a paycheck, you'll have to face the ugly truths about retirement. Find out 14 downsides of retiring that no one talks about, along with the solutions to avoid each potential. So I like that. They're going to not just talk about, but give us solutions. Man, I hate these. You got to click on this right here. That's that. Oops, I guess you got to click there. That's frustrating about these websites. We got to click through. Well, where is it? All right. Well, if you can find. Okay, right here. There we go. All right. So what's one of the downsides? Your net worth becomes meaningless when you retire. That. All right. You might have diligently been setting aside money for the future and have a big nest egg now, but even $1 million might not last long enough for retirement if you live in a state where the cost of living is high. Unfortunately, when people set retirement savings goals, they often do so without actually knowing how much they'll need to cover expenses in retirement. I agree with that 100%. This is from Niles Geary, co-founder of Voyage Partners in Johnson City, Tennessee. A couple of my old friends from Kingsport own a firm now in Johnson City, Tennessee. It's not this one. Rowan, R-O-A-N, Rowan Partners. So not familiar with Voyage, but I do know two of the partners at Rowan. So if you're in Johnson City, I might recommend these guys. My man, I'm drawing blanks. James and Joy from Rowan Partners there. I worked with them for just a tiny fraction amount of time up in Kingsport, and I respect them immensely. Only 38% of workers have estimated how much income they would need each month in retirement, according to a survey by the EBRI, Employee Benefit Research Institute. Your net worth becomes meaningless when you retire. The only thing that matters is how much income your net worth produces, says Gary. Yeah, if you're in Johnson City, go with Rowan Partners, because the idea your net worth becomes meaningless. Come on, man. How do you think your income is derived from? It derives from a net worth, so how could it be meaningless? I don't agree with that at all. Let's see. What's number 2? Okay. Here, we got an income plan. Okay, so they're giving us 2 different web pages. Yeah, these guys, snakes in the grass. This is how they can get more clicks so they can sell more ads. I don't like it, but I know what they're doing here. So they're just saying create an income plan. All right, so the one thing no one's talking about is your net worth is meaningless, so the solution is create an income plan. All right, whatever. All right, let's see what else we got here. Taxes can take a big bite out of retirement income. So that's one of the things that no one's talking about. I agree with that. Another big problem retirees face is larger than expected tax bills on their retirement income. Everyone thinks their tax rate will go down once they're retired. That's a misconception, says the same guy from Johnson City. If you save most of your money in a tax-deferred account, such as a 401k, you'll have to pay taxes on the withdrawal as regular income tax rate. So if you need $50,000 a year to cover expenses, you'll have even to draw even more to cover that. I agree with that. I'm hoping my man Gary talks about Roth conversions. We shall see. The solution is what? Is an ad. That's the ad. Okay, so we got to find the solution. All right, well, I don't. Okay, all right, there we go. These aren't good. Actually, this is full screen. What if we click on that? Bear with me just a second, my friends. All right, well, that was better. All right, so we got a couple ladies there who are talking about creating a tax-free retirement plan, but I'm going to pause this because I don't see where you can scroll. Oh, there, okay. Oh, okay, that's not so bad. All right, there you go. I like that better. So let's move myself over here. Hello. Oh, man, that was hi. All right. You need to have savings that you can access tax-free to reduce your tax bill and keep more of your money. You can do this by saving in a Roth or a Roth 401k because you can withdraw tax-free. Ask your employer if you have a Roth option, says Geary. Most of the time the answer is yes. If not, ask your employer to add a Roth 401k option. Funding a permanent life insurance policy can also provide a tax-free income in retirement. Just are we really saying? All right, so old Gary isn't giving me he's not giving us anything to go on here. Come on, Gary, give us something to go on, man. So he's going, ask your employer if he's got a Roth. Most of the time they do. If they don't, ask them to have one. And here's a permanent life insurance policy. How can you not? I was getting ready to say, I think we're now on the precipice of, that's probably not the right word. Precipice, looking down the mountain, and we're not doing that. But I think maybe it is. More and more people recognize the benefits of Roth conversions right when you hit 60 or 61 or 62. I'm starting to see that a lot lately, and maybe it's just the folks I run with on the internets, but it seems like that's coming more and more prominent, or prevalent, I should say, in financial planning or vernacular. But our guy Gary here talks about permanent life insurance. So, all right, so let's keep going. And inflation can impact your retirement income needs. I 100% agree with that. As you calculate your retirement income needs, you'll need to take inflation into account. Hey, this is Margaretta Cheng from Blue Ocean Global Wealth. I'm actually connected to her on LinkedIn. She was on something else I follow, so I'm a fan of Margarita. She's from Maryland, so that's good. It's important to understand the effects can be stealth. Inflation affects your purchasing power. If you want to maintain your current standard of living in retirement, count on spending more over the years as the cost of living rises. I think, like my man Bernicki, Ty Bernicki from 2005, and his, again, seminal piece on retirement planning, reality retirement planning. He says you got to adjust your spending needs for inflation, but then you got to adjust it down for the lack of spending on other things you normally would have as you age. So you got to be careful here. So Margarita's, well, I don't even know what she's saying, but someone who's ever written this, Cameron, is saying, if you want to maintain your current standard of living in retirement, count on spending more over the years as cost of living rises. I agree with that, but I agree to some extent that you also got to be careful that you don't start saying, I'm going to adjust it each and every year with inflation without seeing the income needs drop because you get older. All right, pause just a second. My better half just texted. The solution about inflation is to invest in equities, says these folks here. Over the past several years, the annual inflation rate in the U.S. has hovered around 2%, according to BLS. If you don't want your purchasing power to be eroded by inflation, invest in an asset with a higher rate of return to avoid running out of money. And Margarita says the solution is to include equities in your investment mix. Okay, I 100% agree with that. Good. All right, let's keep going here. Let's see what else they're saying. All right, you might outlive your savings. Huh? You might. When asked, most people likely say they want to live a long, healthy life, but this can be a downside of retirement for those without adequate savings. The average life expectancy is 78.8 years, according to CDC. No, it's not. No, it's not. Why do I just can't stand the media. I'm sorry, man. Get your freaking act together, people. If you're in the media, come on. I just listened to a couple guys on a podcast from 2017. It was Matt Ridley from the Wall Street Journal, a guy from the Cato Institute, and another guy. So they had two optimists and two pessimists. And the pessimist, everyone's saying, why are human beings so pessimistic relative to optimistic? And I actually think it's for survival. It's the way we were born. You're always worried about what's coming out to get you. And I think that's human nature for sure. But then the guys, all three of them, two of which have been in the media, say, well, we report on the plane crashes. We don't report on the planes that land safely, even though the planes that land safely are in the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands compared to that one that crashes. It's the media. But the issue, I get that, but the issue I can't stand is this is just the average life expectancy is not for the people who are reading this. And I can't stand that the media, just to quote Ben Rhodes, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They just don't. They're young kids. They only worked on political campaigns, and they don't know anything. I mean, that's not me saying it. That's Obama's foreign guy who's his foreign advisor saying that. And I don't agree that. I can't not agree that more. However, about 1 in 4 65-year-olds will live past 90, according to the Social Security Administration. That means some people could spend decades in retirement. So what's the solution? Plan for a long retirement. Even though they just said the average life expectancy is 78.8. Long-term care could wipe out your savings. Even if your nest egg is large enough that you won't outlive your savings, you could still run out of money if you don't have a plan to cover long-term care costs. Geary said, if you reach 65, there's about a 50-50 chance you'll need some sort of long-term care, according to HHS, Health and Human Services. This sort of care isn't cheap. The median annual cost for assisted... This is what my book is. All this stuff is... I go into all this stuff that this guy's talking about here. I hit it, and I hit it hard in my book that's getting ready to be published. So you can easily burn through 1 million, take care of one person. And how many people actually do that, Gary? Not many. All right, get long-term care coverage. Here's Gary, same guy who told us about permanent life insurance to talk about long-term care. All right, I get it. He's selling stuff. You might not be prepared for high healthcare costs. Man, this is literally like part and parcel directly from my book. Whoever wrote Cameron Middleton, thank you, because this is the precursor. Every single thing you're talking about here, I write in my book. If you aren't prepared to cover healthcare costs, we talk about the Fidelity Investment estimates. Yes, Fidelity Investment estimates the 65-year-old couple retiring this year will need $275,000 to cover medical expenses, and that does not cover long-term care costs. Ah! I'm sorry, folks. I should have more dignity. I should be more professional. You ain't getting it here. If you haven't factored healthcare costs, your retirement savings, and spending calculations, you might have trouble paying for medical care in retirement. I agree with that, 100%. I agree with that. And I'd say to old Cameron, how about factoring home care? Or housing costs, I should say, because housing costs by far and away dwarfs everything. Healthcare costs do not come in the top four. Top four until you're above the age of 75. And even then is when spitting distance of 2, 3, and 4, and 5, where housing is way up here. So don't forget the stupid healthcare stuff. Housing is your number one expense by far, but no one talks about that. Reduce and build health savings. Okay, I'm just going to go burn through that. Living on Social Security alone will be challenging. The average monthly Social Security benefit is $1,413, according to the latest figures from the Social Security Administration. That's only $16,956 a year. If Social Security is all you have, here's my man Gary again. If Social Security is all you have, you'll quickly find out you don't have enough money to meet your needs. Why? Because we're going to look at the average benefit of $1,413, which includes the Grandpa Joneses who have been on Social Security for 30 years and me who just got on. So I get $3,000 a month as my PIA. Grandpa Jones is living on $1,000 a month right now, whatever it is. We average them as $2,000. Now, if you're married, let's just use $1,413. We'll say husband and wife both get it, or at least husband gets $1,413, wife gets out. There's so many ways to skin this cat. The idea of the average retirement benefit is just, and I've done videos on this. I hate that advisors use this as a way to say, you're not going to be able to retire alone on Social Security. Blah, blah, blah. He talks about some people who lives in Johnson City. Let's see. He said there are people in Johnson City, Tennessee, where he lives who are trying to get by on Social Security alone and have to make a decision about whether to buy their medication or food. I'm not saying that's not the case, Gary. I am saying at the end of the day, I have a sneaky suspicion they have a mortgage. I have a sneaky suspicion they have debt. I have a sneaky suspicion all these things are true. And yet we can make anecdotal evidence to scare the hell out of anybody if you want. And I don't think you're doing right by the people who are going to read this stuff at all. Because the simple facts are, if you got mortgage, you're going to be hurting for sure relative to someone who doesn't. If you have no mortgage, guess what? You have all the equity, which you can take a reverse mortgage on and be done with it. We'll even see if these guys talk about reverse mortgages. All right, so let me guess what the solution is. Save more. You ready? Maximum. Well, at least they say maximize Social Security benefits. Okay. Well, that's better than save more. I guess we've already talked about that. You might become bored. Brett Anderson, president of St. Croix Advisors in Wisconsin, said he often hears retirees complaining about boredom. Yeah, I agree with that. Solution, build a bucket list. All right. Let's see. I just want to see if I'm knowing it. I know a guy named Brett Anderson, but it's not this guy. So we talk Burke Sestock, Retirement, Wealth Partners in White Plains. He just says set up a bucket list. All right, whatever. You may have to keep working. You may have to go back to work after you retire for a variety of reasons. It might not just be part-time work. All right. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. So that's why you start right now on that second level of income with a blog, with gardening, with doing welding, anything you can do. Start today to start learning that so you can get a second source of income. I completely agree with that. The Brookings Institute found that in 1995, 56% of workers 65 or older worked part-time and less than half worked full-time. By 2014, 60% of workers aged 65 and older were full-time. No, because we're living longer. I mean, come on, it's 20 years ago. Find work you enjoy. I think this might be the second thing I agree with these people on. Find work you enjoy. 100% unequivocally agree with that. Sure. You might have to move in with your kids. An overwhelmingly majority of parents don't expect any financial support from their retirement, but that doesn't mean they won't end up turning to them for help. I get that unequivocally. I was just talking to a guy yesterday. His mom had Alzheimer's, lived with her for him and his wife for 6 years, and his freaking awesome wife took care of the mom. I mean, and his mom is his wife's mother-in-law, and yet she still sat with her for 6 years. I mean, I mean, in my opinion, that's just good Christian values there. But it ain't easy. It ain't easy. I mean, Alzheimer's, someone's got to watch you, that's for sure. And there's horrible stories on this. It's horrible. But isn't that what family's for? I don't know. Just, at the end of the day, if that's what needs to be done, that's what needs to be done. I mean, just drive on. It sucks, but I mean, all right. Let's see. The factor percentage of older adults living with children has increased in recent years, according to CRR, the Center for Retirement Research out of Boston College. They move in, their kids are usually forced to do so because of economic distress. Yeah, I agree with that. Make retirement savings a priority. I knew it had to be there to make retirement savings a priority. I'm still surprised they don't talk about reverse mortgages. I don't get why reverse mortgages isn't part of this scenario, but you may feel guilty about spending your savings. 100% agree with that. We know about that. The mental accounting, taking from principal versus taking from income is tough to pull down principal. That's a fact. If you spent years pinching pennies so you can build your nest egg, you might be ready to retire to enjoy the fruits of your labor. But it could be that breaking out your frugal mindset is difficult because you've developed an addiction to savings. He say money. Oh, he says saving money. Okay. People who have done an excellent job of saving for retirement often have a difficult time spending the money they accumulate. I'd actually say even worse, they often have a difficult time giving it away because it scares them. And that's not a good mindset. You want to have a abundant mindset, which is you're blessed. It shows some of the blessings you've been given to other people who need it for sure. I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying if you got a couple mil and you're living on, $4,000 or $5,000 a month and you have Social Security, you actually have the wherewithal to give money away for sure. And you should. I mean, without question. You can do it through QCDs, qualified charitable distributions, through your RMDs on your IRAs, and not even have a tax bill at all. Create a budget. Yeah, I agree with that. You may be forced to withdraw retirement money you don't need. Yeah, exactly. And this is Gary's again. It's many clients who say, I don't need to take this much out, but if you don't, you'll pay a big tax on it. I agree with that. Don't stash all of your savings in a 401k. I completely agree with that. The best way to avoid having to take RMDs that you don't need is to say in different types of accounts. You could convert to a Roth when you retire. Oh, he's Gary's talking about that there. I'm not sure why it's the last part of the scenario. I don't blame old Gary here. I blame the writer, but that's right. I mean, you start converting to a Roth. Once your income drops, and Gary lives in Tennessee, so there's no state income tax to pay. If you're in Tennessee, it's only Fed. So it makes sense to me. Moving might be a bad idea. Let's see. We're going to talk about reverse mortgages here. We got Leon Lebrecht, who's CEO of something in Troy, Michigan. But moving in retirement can backfire, which is why many people actually don't do it, by the way. So what's the solution? Test out new locales first, all right? And don't get those kind of pants like that guy's got on. That's not attractive. Why do you got your tiny short shorts there and your shoes and socks? And then that's not a good look, brother. Let's get out of this ASAP. All right. Keeping up with your friends may be harder. You may have a similar career as your best buddy, but if he or she saved better than you, your retirement lifestyles might not match up, says this lady, Sullivan Financial Planning in Denver, Colorado. Yeah, I agree. Make sure you're setting the okay. There's a bunch of budgeting. All right. Well, a lot of that I completely disagree with. Some of it I do. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all common sense stuff there. Yeah, I do think the thing on boredom makes sense. And I do think, actually, 100% unequivocally, it makes sense to start thinking about what you enjoy. How can you turn that into a side hustle? Did I just say that? Yes, I did. So because if you can enjoy it and you start building a website, start building a platform, you'll enjoy it like I do this. I love this stuff. I do it all the time, and somehow people seem to like it, so they watch, and you can do the same on whatever it is topic you enjoy. It doesn't have to be a video thing. It could be a blog post. It could be just anything. I mean, there's tons of stuff you can do. Just find something you enjoy and make that your part-time gig as you go into retirement. Not only will you not be bored, not only will you be doing something you enjoy, but you could make money from it too. All right, don't forget to smash, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.